Huzzah.
Yes. Good to see everybody. To be continued, yes. The last days are the first days.
Right.
It's very exciting. But before I started my sermon yesterday evening, Jack came over to our home. But anyway, I don't know if all of you were able to find or hear or watch the at Belvedere, currently going on, is a 50-year anniversary of the Japanese missionaries in America. Were you able to watch it? Mamu-san? No, you should. It's amazing. Anyway, it was such a beautiful and incredible, it's a 2-day event. Yesterday was the first day. And it's the missionaries, it's the members of our church, our Japanese members who've been here for over 50 years, coming originally with Reverend Kamiyama, and then with his original 12 disciples he brought, and then from there the Japanese members started coming more and more to America, and it's a tribute to them. So to see some of these older brothers and sisters our age, and to hear some of their testimonies was really incredible. So one of them in particular that I want to reference, but he wasn't speaking directly about the Japanese, but he was speaking in general of the early days. Everybody knows Tom McDivitt, right? Mm-hmm. So he was talking about, in particular, the Yankee Stadium campaign. Was anybody at Yankee Stadium? Yes, that's it? Okay. But it was really an incredible event, the Yankee Stadium event. And it was the bicentennial. We were selling chocolates on the street. Happy birthday or something, custom designed turtle candies to celebrate the 200-year birthday of America. Anyway, it was the way that he explained it, and together with his brother, Mike McDevitt also gave testimony of Father's intensity and his seriousness and his total awareness of how dangerous this event was going to be, the potential danger. And he, the communists were out there in the street, and the Christians who were persecuting us were out there in the streets. Mike McDevitt gave testimony later that he said that there were 3 people in the audience with guns. 4 people with guns in the audience.
NYPD arrested 4 people with firearms in the stadium.
In the stadium, yes. Okay, so it was an extremely dangerous situation. And we all know the testimony, we've seen videos. Before Father went out to speak, he was in the green room. I don't think this testimony was shared, but what I heard was that there was a picture in the green room, and I believe it was a picture of either Jesus Christ or True Parents, but it fell off the wall when Father was in the green room. Anyway, so Father, and he shows his face, his incredible intensity and his seriousness to go out and to give this message. And then we know all, the big whirlwind, the storm came crashing into that stadium, and it was going to be like everything was, all the decorations were blown apart, everything was just, basically destroyed. And Tom McDivitt was in the audience, and he had the bullhorn because he was like leading the crowd in songs, but he got this inspiration, and he said it completely came from heaven. And he was holding the bullhorn, and he was thinking, what can I do? What can I do about this situation? And he held the bullhorn and said, sing. And he looked at this one sister in the audience, and for whatever reason, he was inspired to sing, You Are My Sunshine. We're all familiar with that, right? But he felt, sing the song with faith. You are my sunshine, and sing it with faith. And then, as we know, the clouds opened, and the sun came out, and Father was able to deliver his message in this incredibly serious and dangerous time period. And with that explanation of the story, Tom was able then to reflect on the time that we're living in right now. When you look at the world situation, how dangerous it all is. I mean, everyone who is aware when we know what's going on in Israel and Palestine, everything, right? And our country, as he said, is crippled right now. Our nation is a crippled nation. And he said, so this is why then he referenced the Cheong Shim Won and the importance of being able to pray but not just pray, to pray with faith, and why Mother has given us the Cheong Shim Won at this very important and significant time to be able to really bring the heavens down, to open heaven's gate, and to bring God's Spirit into this physical world. It's not just another prayer room that we've taken up as a project. In our movement, it is a very serious and important time, analogous to perhaps how Father was experiencing Yankee Stadium and the potential dangers of America in America. So that testimony, along with others, and I'm sure there will be a tape of it, you can go, but it's really incredible. It's very heart-moving for especially first gen. But second gen also at the end, I think Milhan Stevens at the end gets up and gives a testimony, which I wasn't able to really capture, but we could hear that. Anyway, that's a prelude to be continued. So I took these verses from the Old Testament because I really feel there is so much comfort in the Old Testament. Of course, the Old Testament before Jesus Christ was able to come on the earth, but reflecting the heart of a parent who is encouraging and comforting us. So Isaiah says, "Remember not the former things, nor consider the things of old. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert." So hopeful, so optimistic, giving us a vision that no matter what, especially for the Israelites, what they were experiencing and going to experience, encouraging them and giving them hope. And again in Isaiah, "For behold, I will create a new heavens and a new earth. The former things will not be remembered, nor will they come to mind." And Ecclesiastes, "Say not, why were the former days better than these? For it is not wise to ask such questions." So in particular, I believe for our membership and for the population in general, that we can't be thinking, remember how great it was years ago in the 50s or 60s, or even for some people, from 2016 to 2020, everything was going so great and America was rising to the top and we were really something else, we want to bring all those good days back. However, what we see going on in our world today is a total inversion, turning inside out, of what we're experiencing now and what is potentially to come. Nobody has a crystal ball. We don't know really and truly what is to come, but what's being prophesied in the Bible and for us to look forward to is really incredible and optimistic. And going back to Yankee Stadium and the dilemma that was experienced there, what did Father say? He said, September, that event took place on July, 4th? Is that? Not 76, and so he says, September 18th, we're going to have Washington Monument. And everyone was like, are you kidding me? But we can't do this. This is impossible. Remobilize and reorganize again. But anybody who was there, who went to Washington Monument, I was there. Yeah, you were there, right? It was an incredible and total victory. 100% different from what was experienced at Yankee Stadium. So the sun came out and there was an incredible victory there. So we are living in a time of a great transition. So I have to admit here, I plagiarized this a little bit from a dear brother in New York. Does anyone know Darrell Clark? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he gave this sermon. I was so inspired about it. I heard about it. So I thought, wow, that's a great analogy. So what do you see going on here?
Passing the baton.
Passing the baton, yes. It's a relay race, right? It's passing the baton. So there are many analogies that we can draw from this. Because when you look at the runners, obviously the first runner, do you think he's slowing down so that the second guy can catch the baton? I believe that they're probably both running as fast as they possibly can. So the analogy is that the first runner is the first generation. We are running, or at least we're hobbling, along as fast as we can to continue with the providence as we understand it, as we have come to know it through our foundation and through our relationship with our true parents. We are carrying on the traditions, we're carrying on the mission, the expectations as we possibly can. But when you look at these runners, notice how the first runner, his eyes are down, right? He's like aiming to like finish his responsibility as the first runner. The second runner, his eyes are up and his eyes are on the goal of the catching the baton. Hopefully this is the second gen, not to point fingers here, guys, but to look forward, to keep your eye on the goal, to keep the same expectations and the goals and dreams of our true parents in the age that we're living on. Also, when you look at the picture, you can see how at one point both hands are on the goal. Both hands are on the baton. It's not like the first guy drops it and forgets about it, or the second one has to pick it up and start all over again. Both of their eyes, both of their hands are on the baton at once. That means that there has to be a cooperation. There has to be a very, and I'm sure when they practice and train in these relay races, there's timing involved, there's, rhythm involved as to how they can keep in sync with each other so that that baton can be passed in the most expeditious way. So I really, found a lot of inspiration from hearing and understanding this, that this is the age that we are living in. This is the time that hopefully we can pass on to the second gen, third gen, fourth gen, the goal and the ideals and the dreams of our true parents. So I thought that was an interesting explanation and viewpoint. I don't know, probably there's a lot more analogy, not more understanding you can glean from this, but this is, anyway, I thought very inspirational and timely understanding of the age that we're living in. So, I'm a fan of, I'm not a fan, I peruse Facebook every once in a while, and I found Facebook Truth. Somebody posted this somewhere sometime. And I thought, wow, okay, yes. The enemy didn't tempt Adam and Eve to murder, steal, or even to lie. He tempted them to question the word of God. Just know his tactics haven't changed. I thought, wow, it's true, right? The Garden of Eden was not a bloody story of any kind of horrendous crimes that were committed. What the archangel did, Lucifer, he said to Eve, God? No, forget it. Don't pay attention. God, you don't have to listen to him. Listen to me. I can. Your eyes will be open. Just hey, do what I tell you to do. This is the age-old story, and we see it very active and very real and very much alive today. What is communism all about? People are talking about communism again. We're like, oh God, we thought we defeated that long ago, right? We thought that age had all passed. We saw the Berlin Wall come down, and the USSR became this, what is it, the CSI, what is it they call it? CIS? Yeah, whatever it is. All the communist nations are now, there's no more Berlin Wall and everything, but Putin is there trying to regain his mother Russia, right? It's the whole communist influence. And that we see going on in our society today is in our school systems and in our family breakdowns and in this, everybody thinks it's progressive thinking. They're going to open their minds and become, woke to a new culture that is better than what we've got. But actually, it's all about denying the existence of God, denying who our heavenly parent is, denying where we originally came from and what was the original design of history. This is the age-old deception that is just, coming in a new flavor and a new design and a new expression that we're dealing with today. There was an incredible insight that was given yesterday again from the testimonies from the elder brothers. Mr. Kobayashi, I think he was also another 3-7 couple, right? and he was referring to the Cheong Shim Won, and Father's words from the Cheong Shim Won, and how Father explained that the Vietnam War was the turning point where we know America pulled out, and we know those nations all fell to communism. Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, the killing fields, all of that took place. So he says in Cheong Shim Won, Father explains, no matter how strong America's military is, doesn't matter. The ideological war was lost. When we pulled out of Vietnam in 1974, I think it was, Nixon, was it Johnson? Was it Nixon or Johnson? Who was it? But anyway, we pulled out, and everything fell apart. And we know that when those soldiers came back to America, how they were, really put through hell, condemned and criticized and looked down upon, because the ideological, the ideals, the goals, the dreams of overcoming the communist Gandhian ideology was lost. And we've been trying to regain that ever since then. That's why Father and Mother came, to be firefighters, to come as the doctors to this country of America, the Christian foundation that is supposed to receive our true parents, to overcome the false ideology, the God-denying ideology. You can call it Marxism, Maoism, Chuche ideology, whatever. It's all basically the same, denying the existence of God. And that is what we really have to come to grips with. That is what we have to come to know. That is why, again, the Cheong Shim Won is being emphasized by True Mother at this time for experiences with God. The spirit world, the high spirit world, is more easily accessible if we're able to pray. When we look at our elder brothers in our movement who are carrying the flag at the forefront, like Tom McDivitt, Mike Jenkins, these guys, who've been around, they are not afraid to shout out in their resonance prayer with faith that God needs to come back into our own hearts, come back into our families. It's not a time of complacency, which I'm sure, we can be aware of, but to take action is important. So the divine principle explains, and we're very well aware with the third chapter of eschatology, where God's sovereignty and Satan's sovereignty, at the time of the Messiah, can begin to take a reverse course. This is the transition time that we're in, where hopefully the God-affirming, family-affirming believers can take the forefront and can change the course of history, hopefully, from the satanic oppression that is going on, quite obviously. I mean, everybody's aware of it, right? Everyone knows that there's really a time of crisis right now going on. So, I'm wanting to end with some words of encouragement from our true mother, who spoke this in 2019. This was right after the establishment of the World Clergy Leadership Conference in Newark, New Jersey. Who was there? Some people were there, you were there, right? And she says, especially heaven prepared America for the completion of the providence with Christianity. Yet America did not fulfill its responsibility. That's an important point. America did not fulfill its responsibility. So what do you do when you fail? If you're taking a course in school, you want to get your degree and you fail in your course, you have to take it over again, actually, if you want to get your degree. You can't just, take your F and keep going. No, you've got to do over, take it again, humble yourself. Okay, I really want to get this degree or finish this course, so I've got to do over. And I believe that this is what is happening right now. We have the opportunity to take the course again, to fulfill our responsibility now, whereas before we have failed. And don't think about the past and your past failures, regretting, oh my God, terrible person I was, I couldn't do it. We have to look forward with optimism and with hope. So when True Mother says she gave a final gift to America, it means that's the final gift. You can only take the course, I think in universities they let you take it 3 times. And then they say, sorry, no more chances. But this is the time. At the end of the day, because we are the true parents, we came to this nation and shed blood, we shed sweat and tears for over 40 years of America. And we can look back on those days with a minimal amount of pride in our hearts. Yeah, I did that, I was there. But we have to realize we failed. However, the results were very inadequate, even though True Parents came. The results were inadequate. Yet the providence is still moving forward. Reference the relay race. This means that there is no time to look back. Therefore, for the last 7 years, I spoke often about the truth of the providence, that we must understand God. What are God's characteristics? Who is God? And what is the essence of the Messiah, the Savior, and Jesus Christ? What is that essence? Reverend Young was here previously as our regional leader. We all, many of us really, I was so moved by his education. His teaching was that I've never heard before, talking so openly about the heart of Jesus Christ and the suffering heart of God. And he would say many, many times over, if anything, what he wants to do is teach about the suffering heart of God. And he would go into detail many times of those experiences that we all are familiar with, how our Heavenly Parent has been so lonely, has not been able to be understood, that the Christian foundation or the Jewish foundation, these people who were chosen by God, couldn't understand. So Christianity, that had to go the course through Europe and on the foundation of the European nations, Mother very clearly explains, they did not understand the essence of who Jesus Christ was. They went instead on their proud foundations into nations like Africa and oppressed them and took advantage of them and abused them for their own benefit. That is the foundation of which Christianity came to the West. And it has not been able to be successful. We have to rise again, but with a new and more clear understanding. So, as I said, Reverend Young was talking many times about the essence of Jesus Christ. And that is, I believe, which we know very well, as he was dying on the cross, was able to say, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they've done. But he said, I will come again, because you didn't get it right the first time. And so then, 2,000 years later, when our true Father came, our true Mother came, we've been given another chance, standing on that Christian foundation. But we have failed. Now is the time for a do-over. We really have to get and I'm speaking to myself as well, because many times I find myself, well, what can I do? Tommy Dibbitt said, you have to shout out in resonance prayer with faith, because the spirit world, we need the high spirit world, we need the engagement of the spirit world to move our hearts and to move our actions. So this is a precious time, a critical time, not that we have to be freaking out, because referencing Isaiah in the beginning, there is hope. God is doing something new. It's springing forth. There will be rivers in the desert, and he will make way through the wilderness. So it's a time of hope, but it's also a time of action, I think, where we have to really try to get ourselves together a little bit. So I believe that we can. True parents believe that we can, obviously. And it was so inspiring, like I say yesterday, to see those elder members, 3-7 couples, the Kobayashis, Mr. Ikeno. I remember Mr. Ikeno from CARP, and genius guy, really. You know, one of the, I think after Joe Tully, I think Mr. Ikeno was New York CARP, you know. But their testimonies and their stories were just so moving, and you know, that's the foundation that we're standing on. Just these more of these testimonies, which hopefully you can see. Mr. Kobayashi had just come to America, and his English still, you know, you have to listen really closely to hear what he's saying, so you can imagine, what, 40 years ago, 45 years ago, Father gave him the mission to start the News World newspaper. I didn't realize that. I didn't know that Mr. Kobayashi was the first president of the News World newspaper in New York. And so when he got that mission, Mr. Kobayashi says, this is insane. You know, how am I supposed to start a newspaper in New York with limited English and no understanding at all about the newspaper business? But that was the mission that Father gave him. And, you know, it took off. And he was able to do it. He said and Father gave him 6 months. You have 6 months to start this newspaper. He was just like, oh my God. But somehow, he said, the day came, December 31st, 1976, was it? The newspaper started. So he was able to accomplish that goal. This is what, you know, we can inherit and learn from our elders. Japan is our mother nation. And for me, you know, I think that's an important thing to reflect on. It is our mother nation. Through Japan, the rest of the world can experience rebirth. Right now, Japan is going through horrendous, horrible suffering and persecution because of the communists who are trying to destroy the religious freedom in Japan. It's very clearly outlined, if anybody's been following the testimonies that are given on Tuesday nights by Mike Jenkins, and it's a communist attorney in Japan who is who's the main person to attack our movement, the religious freedoms in Japan. And so this is, you know, many times I think we water things down, or we can't see clearly what the real objective of this influence is. If Japan, and it's up to this one person we've been asked to pray specifically for, Judge Kenya is his name in Japan. Interesting last name, right? Kenya. But it's Judge Kenya in Japan, who's the final judge who's been given the responsibility to make the final decision referring to this court case, this hearing. So we've been asked to pray for him very specifically. But so it's, of course, we're praying for the unification of North and South Korea. The True Mother has determined by 2025, which is like, you know, a flash of an eye before that, the unification of North and South Korea. That Japan is crucial that they unite, Japan okay, here's another testimony. There was a wonderful brother, I don't know if it matters that we know his name or not, but who was responsible for the Cheong Shim Won in Japan. And he was very concerned because of the pressure in Japan from society. So he was in the Cheong Shim Won, and he would pray in the Cheong Shim Won, but very quietly, in a subdued way. He was more reflective or meditative kind of prayer. And Mother said, change this person, and she brought in a Korean brother who has a Japanese wife, and she said, you have to pray boldly. You have to pray boldly. And she replaced this person because I mean, you know, it's kind of a unique thing. Sometimes I'm in the Cheong Shim Won and I'm shouting out, and I'm like, are you crazy? You know, you're a crazy person and you're by yourself. But connecting with God's heart. And I do have to say there's a deeper feelings that I'm able to generate and understand through those prayers. And each one of us as individuals can experience that. And it's important. So anyway, that's it for today, to be continued. So I guess if you want to join me in prayer, thank you. Our precious heavenly parents and our beloved true parents of heaven, earth, and humankind, we are still such a tiny minority. This unification movement, originally the Holy Spirit Association for the Unification of World Christianity, which our father started in 1954 in his tiny and very humble beginnings in Korea, and has become a worldwide movement. But still, how many people? Our true mother's great pain was that Father was not recognized on the international level by world leaders at his time of passing. The Messiah, the Christ, the second coming, came and lived his life in total sacrifice to your will and was not able to be recognized in the world level. So our true mother's goal and determination is to really bring alive and be recognized the true parents of all of humankind on the world level. Now we know that our brothers and sisters are working so diligently to bring our true parents' name to the forefront, to stand on the foundation of the Judeo-Christian foundation and proclaim the true parents of all of heaven and earth and humankind to all of humanity. Heavenly parents, I know each and every brother and sister, we want to be a part of this incredible celebration. We want to offer as much as we possibly can. Please guide our hearts in love and in unity to bring about the great awakening of our true parents. Thank you, and I report this in my name, Ann Nilsson of the Martin Nilsson Blessed Central family, together with brothers and sisters and Blessed Central families here. Adieu.
Adieu.